Oh boy, okay. 3 for 3. Um, Fibioso, October wrap up. Yeah, if you watched any of the other ones, you know what I'm talking about. So, this one was my final pick for Shudder, and I had a bunch of movies that I've been kind of saving into a little list on this one, which made this choosing one very easy. And I decided to go with one I've been hearing was pretty good. It pops up on my horror subreddits every so often for Noroi the Curse, which Noroi just translates to the curse, so I guess that's just for the American benefit. It was listed as a Shudder original, but I think they just kind of picked it up for distribution. And decided to give it a watch. And about halfway through, I was wondering if I'd seen this one. Because a lot of it was pretty familiar, but I've seen a lot of Japanese horror films, so I wasn't going to say one way or the other, because sometimes some of the tropes and stylings are familiar. But by the end, I was pretty sure, yes, I had seen this one before, but it has been a long time. I'm talking. This movie came out in 2005. I'm pretty sure it was about 7 or 8 years ago I saw it. So, in my defense, I'd seen it once with a group of people, and with how slow moving this movie is, when you're watching a movie like this with a group, it's hard to focus on something. So, I will say I probably wasn't paying the closest attention as I could have the first time. So, that it was a bit on me. But by the end of it, I was definitely sure I'd seen this one before. And despite me forgetting it to that point, it is a very well put together film. So, me having forgotten it is more on me. But I think the circumstances I watched it under were the more the cause there. Now, this one follows a I guess spiritualist. He makes documentaries exploring supernatural events, and essentially this is the one he made before he disappeared. I mean, right after he made this movie, his house burned down and he vanished. So it's him putting together a bunch of seemingly unrelated paranormal events that seem to all be adding up to one terrifying whole. From a psychic girl who's becoming increasingly off before she vanishes, to a woman who's been hearing strange sounds from her neighbor, the sound of crying children or crying babies, when the woman next door only has like a 9-year-old kid who something seems off about, to a tinfoil clad psychic who's sure that if then ectoplasmic worms are going to be devouring humanity, and a actress who experienced a bad episode while filming a TV variety show where she pretty much collapsed mid-shooting after seeing some things. All these seem completely isolated, but it realizes quickly that there's little details that just interweave all of them, particularly as the actress starts exhibiting stranger and stranger behaviors, all leading to the possibility that some sort of evil spirit or demon named Kagutaba may be at the heart of it all. So this movie is very well put together, but it is a very slow burn. It's interesting to watch, and there's a lot going on. It's just it does take its time, and it some of the punches it might not completely deliver if you're expecting something like The Ring or Ju-on that where it really hits you at the end. This one doesn't has like one small scene like that, but it doesn't really go all out. It's much more of a subdued movie, but a very well put together one. So there's a lot going on here. Now the effects, the CG is not great in this film. I will say that. Some of the other things work okay, but the CG is only 50-50. But overall, it's an interesting film, and definitely worth the time. It is a long one. It's nearly 2 hours long, and it does take its time. But I think there's enough here that really carries it through. I was going back and forth on where exactly to drop this one on my MacGuffin scale, and I'm going to put this one in 3 category, but at the very high end of 3. Yeah, okay. I think that's all I really got going on Noroi. But if you're a fan of Japanese horror films, it's worth checking out. Now, next is I guess discussing some format changes for my show that I'm going to be shifting up. So, Halloween wrap up part 3. I've already covered all of the movies, so let's cover some general housekeeping. So, first off, I am opening the floodgates. So, sometimes I've been debating whether or not something is close enough or counts on whether or not I'm going to review it. Usually I just say, fuck it, review it anyway. Like when I watched Mighty Joe Young, I watched a lot of gorilla movies around then, but it doesn't really fit into my fantasy, sci-fi, horror genres. And a couple of other times movies like that just kind of popped up. So I'm just going to say, I'm going to open the floodgates on this one. I'm just going to review anything that I see now. So, mostly my focus is still going to be the same. There's still going to be plenty of terrible shark movies, over-the-top gorilla action, and random pulls from the horror sections of Tubi, Shudder, and Netflix. But as I watch more series and other movies, I'm just going to be throwing reviews up to them as I see them, or if anything I want to talk about. So, I'm not restricting myself anymore. Next, I'm going to be overhauling my MacGuffin scale. Now, too many times where I have to try to clarify where exactly I'm going to put something. I keep saying it's going to be in the high end of this number, the low end of this. So 5 MacGuffins is clearly not enough variety for me to really be doing this. I'm going to be expanding that to 10 MacGuffins. So anything before that was in the 1 MacGuffin category is now going to be closer to like 1 to 2. And then 3 is going to be like the 4, 5, 6 range. 4 is going to be the higher end of 7, 8, 9, and 10 is going to be those 5-star ones from before. So, expanding the MacGuffin scale. And I'm going to be trying to at least putting out more content than I was before. I think it was like 170 something I saw last year, so I'm going to be trying to get more than that. We'll see how we do there. Also going to resolve to try to take some better notes and be a little bit more coherent. But that's going to be a work in progress, so I can't promise that completely. Maybe I'll even get around to that second idea for a spin-off show, Ranting to the Void, but hey, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves, huh? Alright, so that's it for tonight. I did watch one other movie today, actually, but it wasn't part of my big to-do, so I'm just going to get to that in a day or so. So, happy Halloween, everybody, and if anyone saw any of these, thanks for sticking with me. But I know, as always, I'm probably just talking to the void. Have a good night.